Good day everybody, welcome to the 2020.6 release update video. This is quite a large update, so we thought we'd do a video just to cover the major changes. Now there's not so many changes, more than just additions. So we're going to be going through this rather quickly. What is new in the 2020.6? Well, it's the new print preview. It's the new ability to float tabs for multitasking. If you've got dual screens, you can now have DraftWorks with your working trial balance on one screen and then float and pull your financials off to the second screen. Okay, all your working papers. New archiving system, new hyperlink system, and a lot of little improvements in between. So I'm going to try and cover all of that within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So let's dive straight in. And the first thing we're going to look at is archived clients. Okay, so previously archived clients was something that we had to set up for you. It was quite a bit of a complicated system, but we've gone and we've rewritten it to make it a much easier item to use. Okay, so archives folder now sits in your settings menu. This will probably be pointed more than likely to a network share, and that network share is busy doing backup, so your IT has all of that sorted. Please ensure that that is occurring. Now, archive clients is a nice way you can move all of your clients off of your client list, whether it's your local or your server, to backup. Okay, so that is your old financials, the stuff you haven't used in the last year or two, that you're probably not going to access again for a long time. Okay, you can move all of that off of your working lists into archive clients, and it gets locked down in archive clients as a backup. Okay, it's also quite nice for once you have completed a set of financials, or of course you need to lock down for audit, you can move it to archive clients. So there you don't have any changes being made after the financials are signed off or after the lockdown needs to occur for audit. Okay, so your little button at the top here, archive clients. Here are all my clients that I was testing with and archiving. Client name, year-end, period, framework, methodology, date of signature created, and when it was archived. Okay, quite a few little cool reports. Specifically the compliance report, we know that's getting asked for quite a bit, and the ability to restore back to your local, back to your server. Okay, so if I do a restore, your client file does remain in the archived clients. Okay, it does still stay here. It'll just move a copy to your local, which will then of course need to be unlocked and rolled forward if you want to now carry on to the next year. But you generally leave the prior year file in your working directory, just either set as read only, so nobody can do any changes on it once it's been signed off. And that's of course if you are doing a compilation or review or counting off. So if you're doing an audit, you need to archive and lock down those clients. Okay, so that's very important. The little button to do it is moved on the right hand side, just so you don't accidentally archive. Select which file you want to archive, select yes, and move it across. Okay, it's now archived and it's been removed from my local client. So it gets moved completely over to my archived files. And there's archive demo. I can choose to restore. Yes. Here it is, archive demo. Set as read only. And in my archive clients, of course, that is still kept there, still in lockdown and backed up. Okay. So you can now go and you can play with this and do with this whatever you would like to. Okay. Just remember to disable read only if you'd like to start to work on it, or you don't have to. You can always go into archive demo, for example, do a year-end close, and we'll remove the read only in 2021 for you automatically. So a lot of nice cool options with that. Okay, let's jump into demo client. So let's go and have a look at the new print preview, and actually we're going to do a few little things at once. Okay, so we've changed imports a little bit. So if I quickly import this little TB, okay, and I do an automatic linking, you'll notice, please check and confirm linking before proceeding. We will pull up and we will show you now in future anything that has not been linked and put it right to the top. Okay, so that is just a nice little improvement. You don't have to go down and search for what you're looking for. Okay, users of Palladium, we have a direct Palladium import now. Sync is on its way. We will have a session about that probably within a month or two's time. For those of you that attended the January webinars, it is almost here. Okay, so that's going to change a lot of the way we do imports. I think that's going to be fantastic. Okay, so TV, a little bit different. Okay, let's jump into my financial statements and let's have a look at what's changed. Okay, buttons have changed a little bit. Financials for previews your entire financials, previews a sheet, runs my live preview. So as I'm busy going through the financials, I can see exactly what my financials are going to look like. If I do a change, that change will, I'm just going to cover, that change will update automatically with whatever you change it with. Let me log in quickly. Okay, cool stuff like that. And then legacy previews. These are the old preview options that we used to have. We have bundled it in here in case you have a set of financial statements that we haven't catered for. We spent probably about almost a year testing new print preview, testing that it works for all different scenarios. Probably gone through 1,000 to 2,000 set of financial statements, just double checking. But of course, we don't want to hold you back in case we do see something that we have missed. Please know that your legacy previews there are just as a backup. But if nothing gets reported for the next few months, we will be doing away with legacy previews and we'll be on our new print preview system. Okay. XBRL has also changed. XBRL is now sitting over here just for a little bit easier access because XBRL is just going to keep on growing and growing and growing. So instead of print previewing and then exporting to XBRL, etc., you can now just run XBRL directly from your financial statements. And of course, go and show you do all the tagging. Instead of the pop-up, we'll tell you what's missing. You can then go back, do your tagging, come back to your financials, print preview, or go to the XBRL sheet and just have it update until all of these are clear. Once all of these are cleared, we will auto-validate your file for you and you'll be able to export it out and submit to SIP-C. Okay. So that's the XBRL, but let's have a look at the biggie. The biggie is going to be the new print preview. Okay, so print preview looks very similar, except for this set of options on the right-hand side. So you'll see there's quite a few, and we're going to go through them quite briefly. But what has my print layout changed to? Okay, my print layout has now changed to page breaks and column breaks. Those previous settings that we have had are all moved into the preview IFRS financial screen or any of your print previews. And we've automated a lot for you, so there's actually much less selection to do. The program will do quite a bit more for you. Okay, column breaks, guys, that's a fantastic one for monthly management accounts. If you're doing 12-month columns across, you can choose where you want to break it, and a lot of other options. So that's something that's new. Column breaks are in. We're very, very happy about that. Okay, let's have a look at my preview. Another little item that you'll notice, when I went to my preview, you actually saw it recalculating. So the new print preview is much faster, and what it does is we've actually changed the way the previews work. There is now one main print preview window, and whenever I do a change to my financials, I can simply go back to my preview window. I don't need to rerun print preview, and it will automatically update here. Okay, so that's pretty cool. You don't have a string of print previews anymore. You have to keep on closing. That becomes rather irritating. You now have one live print preview. If you have a decent set of computer, you'll see that the preview has increased in terms of speed massively. We now do about 400 pages in 7 seconds on our testing. Okay. So let's have a look at the actual settings that are on the right-hand side. So here's my tree view on the left, my index. on my right hand side are all the options that I have, and there are lots, but don't be too scared. Why? Because under preview options we have this little button called reset to defaults. So if you stuff anything up here or you've done a change and you're not sure why, you can always go back to normal, because the defaults that we have currently set when you open are the same defaults that we used to use for the old print preview. Okay, so you shouldn't see anything drastically different. It should look the same, feel the same, but with our new print preview options you'll be able to change it. Okay, so reset to defaults makes life great. If you've done settings that you would like to share with your colleagues or with your clerks partners, then you can change settings as you wish, export, and everybody can import those settings for them to become all the same. Okay, so consistency within your firm. There is a new feature coming in a few months where this will all be centrally administrated. Okay, so there'll be a web platform where you'll log into DraftWorks desktop now going forward, that will connect and that will pull down all the settings from one central platform. So if you, a partner, decide to reset the password for the financials access, you'll be able to do it there. If you decide that you would like watermarks to be red and the angle or the size to be different, you'll be able to set that there. Okay, but right now we can set it here and we can share it with all of our colleagues. Okay, so a lot of options. Embed a watermark, a lot of changes to the watermark depending if you want bigger or smaller colors. Universal or global margins. Previously it was a bit of a nightmare. We apologize, we hated it too. Of if you needed to bind or you needed to do any custom margins, you'd have to come in and you'd have to change column B or C depending on the financial statements that you're using. Now with margins you can set a universal margin. Okay, and this will go and it will adjust everything and it will resize the columns accordingly to fit everything in. So that's a cool little feature. Margins for your entire financial statement, so this will apply from the beginning to the end. Okay, page borders, something that we've had in, it's just become much faster, and you can then go and change wherever that's going to sit, and quite interactive. Okay, if you like page borders, you'll love that. A few little options generally for us. So restrict content column width or clear cell backgrounds. These are the defaults. It will keep your financials looking like it is. Overflow, zoom or split. That's for big fins where you've got stuff going into landscape. You can change it whether it will split over or whether it will zoom and adjust to fit. Okay, so split is quite cool for monthly management accounts. You'll notice that isn't the default. Okay, cover, only option cover is footer. Letterheads, the ability to now load up to 5 letterheads. Okay, so we have something called image sets, up to 5 letterheads, not just the 2, and you can choose to link them or put them in any worksheet that you want. Okay, so I'm quickly going to link some letterhead images in. Okay, there's our letterhead, and same if I'd loaded for 5, I would then go in, choose where it goes to. Okay, let's actually go and put it on something important. Okay, the audit report. Now each letterhead that you load, you can choose to select either a header or a footer or both. If you're just selecting the header, make sure it's an A4. If it is an A4, we will go and we'll populate it and we'll watermark it nicely. Otherwise, set header and footer if it's 2 separate images, and we'll place it in the header space and the footer space on your financials. The cool thing is, because we support now adding every single page, you can actually go and add in your firm logo as an image set, and you'll be able to apply. So basically bulk apply to every single page in your financials. Okay, you're just going to have to get the margins or the placement right. but that will auto apply. Put it on where you want it, put it off where you want it. Recommend a little logo that fits under the footer or the name of the firm, or in the top right hand corner. That's generally the best place to put anything in terms of your financial statements. Okay, so pretty cool. Let's go and let's just keep that on audit report, and we're going to go change, and yeah, let's just take that off. If you do have a letterhead 2 and you do change something to a letterhead 2, then please note it'll switch off letterhead 1. Okay. Reports. So my audit report. If you don't have a straightforward letterhead like our company letterhead, and you have margins on the left or on the right, previously you had to go and you had to do this whole thing with column C or D or F or J, and you had to resize it, and it was an absolute nightmare, and we decided to make that a lot easier. Okay, so now you're welcome to have all the fancy letterheads that you want. Okay, and with the margins, you can go and you can adjust if you want a little margin on the right, or you have one of those letterheads where all the graphics go down on the right hand side or the left hand side, or a big header or big footer. Just go and change it in your reports margins. I'm going to resize columns for you automatically. And yeah, it's as simple as that. Easy. Very easy peasy. Okay. Please note, second page, it will then follow standard letterhead etiquette. Okay, there is a way to do letterheads out there. It is a standard way. When you're doing a letterhead or a letter, the letterhead goes on the first page, the second page it does not. Okay, so that's a universal standard in terms of letters and letterheads. So it will not go on to page 2. That is not a fault or a bug. That is by design for letterhead etiquette. Okay, notes. Let's go and open some notes. So the note options are pretty cool. We've also addressed a lot of things in margins that we didn't like. So let's go and throw in some values here. Let's go and open up some other notes. Okay, go back to the preview. The preview goes in, updates automatically. Okay. So, notes. So continued header. If you'd like it, if your note breaks over 2 pages and you'd like it just to have the main note split, being the continued, select that. If you'd like the subnote to go onto the next page, for the header, if it splits on a subnote, then select that too. Okay, easy as that. Colors for the continued headers, the style of the continued header, and of course the format. Okay, note numbers. Now normally we put the note numbers in sort of the margin. However, you can now move the note numbers in. So if you prefer that, note numbers will now get moved in, and you can even choose to left align the note numbers for some improved look and feel. Okay, so that's a great one. We've had a lot of guys request that from us. And then header source, this is really for some settings when it comes to intricate monthly management accounts and some unusual financial statements. So you shouldn't have to touch those. Give us a shout if anything looks odd on your print preview, if you are doing an unusual set of financials in terms of customization, and that will generally solve anything unusual in terms of the headers. Okay, select tax headers. So over here, if I decided that I don't want my 2020 and my 2019 at the top here, I can just choose to remove it, and voila. Okay, takes it out, and it'll carry on from the next page. This is ideally when you wouldn't have that note 5 and you just have PP&E, that actually 2020 and the 2019 date headers are not applicable. Okay. Page break on accounting policies. We page break on paragraphs, so the accounting policies flow, and the notes we will page break between subnotes. But you can also choose different ways that the page breaks will work. If you want to keep the note together by default, you can change it to notes, and we'll always try and keep the note together. We won't do a page break. We'll try and fit it all on its own page, but otherwise by default we'll page break on a subnote, unless you see a nice place to break a note. Okay, and it may not be at a subnote breakpoint, it may be somewhere else. You can go and you can insert your own page break. We'll honor that page break, but we'll carry on with our automation going into the second and third pages and so forth and so forth. Okay, footers. Change the look, the feel of your footers, starting from page number. So if you're doing like an integrated report before, you can select to start from page number 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever it may be. The format, where it's sitting, footer lines, and even the ability to add in your custom footers or remove, of course, the unaudited footer on the detailed eyes, which is, yeah, your choice. Okay. So that covers the archiving, covers some of the changes in financial statements. Again, nothing major. It's just sort of some new options that we've given you. It's going to stay pretty much the same. But something I was chatting about is called this float. So if you want to float out and put this working trial balance on a second screen, we can. And then you now have your financials on one screen, your working trial balance on another. Okay, or ideally your working trial balance on one screen and your audit programs on another. Okay. So it makes life very, very easy when you can split out things like the working TV, and let's stock it, or of course split out or float your financial statements. Okay, so you can still carry on working on everything, and you can have your financials sitting on screen number 2. Right click on it and choose doc to put it back in, and that's pretty cool. Okay, last new little sort of feature that we have is the hyperlinks. So just to show you quickly, let me just log out, so we have some locked cells. If you run hyperlinks and it's on a locked cell, it's going to show you all grayed out that it can't edit that area. So it can't add in a hyperlink there because the hyperlink is locked. But if you go to an area where it is open, you now have accessibility to all of your hyperlinks. So instead of that long ribbon we had here, we had to drop down. We now have your lead schedules, your working papers, and you can quickly go and click on what hyperlink you want to insert. Okay, available in your working papers, your financials, and your working trial balance too, if you want to do a working paper reference. Okay, so that's the new little option on there. So that covers the major additions. Numerous other little tweaks here and there, but this should have you covered for just an overview of what's coming in. Remember, if you get stuck with something, please hit remote support, come and ask us how or why, and we'll assist you. It's our absolute pleasure to help. And please keep the critical feedback coming. We love to hear what we're doing right, but most importantly, we love to hear what we're doing wrong. Okay, so we can improve and get an update out that will fix anything that you don't like. Okay, so please keep the feedback coming. It's absolutely invaluable to us. Draftworks is modeled and designed and developed around your needs. So let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you think is missing, where you think we can improve. Okay. And with that, I see I've got a meeting coming up. So that's 25 minutes, a little longer than I wanted to, but I think we covered quite a bit. And yeah, you can even go and switch on your Letterheads under Letterheads, okay, without having to go into the print preview. So a lot of things still stay the same, just a lot more options. There have been a few other changes in terms of, instead of a rack tab, you now have a methodology tab. Please look out for this. I'm just on compilation, but if you're running in rack, you'll see there are a lot more working paper templates that we've added. And try to remove a lot of the NA stuff or stuff you typically wouldn't use a lot in the methodologies. That is now available under methodology to access as a template in the top. Okay. Yeah, I think we've covered most of it. Please give us a shout. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.